So when it comes to summer school, there's really a few things that you want to be able to do. Number one is recover credits. You're here obviously because you're behind in credits, and this is great because there's smaller groups. There's only about 30 people in summer school, so there's way more opportunity to get one-on-one help with teachers. There's I'm going to be hanging out all morning, so if you need help with stuff, I'll be here. The way summer school works, if you want to complete one class, 100% of a class, that means you need to do about 20% of a course each week. And so I'll show you how you know how to do that, or how you know where you are. And you're going to be completing 2 Google forms each week, and that's our required attendance. So you have to do those forms even if you are completing all the work. Those forms need to be done. The best thing for you would be to set aside a few hours a day to complete assignments. It is possible, more than possible, to do one whole class in summer school if you're doing the 3 hours a day at a minimum. If you do less than 3 hours a day, you're not going to get as far, and that means that's just hanging out over your head. The other thing that's going to be really helpful for you or to know is that if you join a help session with me, then you're kind of like any meet you join, you're consenting to being recorded, and that's just, you should just understand that any meeting could be recorded. So what you want to do every week, Monday, today, when we finish this little presentation, you want to go into the weekly goal form and fill that out if you haven't already. Then all week, you're going to be working on your assignments in Odysseyware. And then on Thursday, you're going to complete the goal evaluation form. There's a Monday one and a Thursday one. They're different forms, so they need to be completed. You can use handwritten notes on quizzes and tests. And if you fail a quiz or a test, you're going to have to go back and take the notes anyway. So it's best to take those notes early on. You can't do them on you can do them on the computer, but you can only use handwritten notes on the test, not computer notes. There are lots of things that you don't do inside of the Odysseyware program when you're doing summer school. So you can complete them in a Google Doc or Google Slide. You'll have to make a copy of the assignment because they're all view only, and then you can type in them. And then, as always, questions, if you email me, like if you just have a quick question, send me an email, or if you need help on something where you want to set up a meet, you can just send me an email with a time that's good for you, or you can sign up in the tutorial session itself. Now, to be good at online stuff, and many of you have probably found out it's no fun to do this completely online, but you want to make sure you have small goals every day. So you have your big weekly goal, that 20% done each week. So what are you going to do every day to get there? What specific assignments maybe are you going to do? Make sure you're setting aside a certain time each day. You don't have to work from 8 to 11 in the morning every day. If it works better for you to go from 10 to 1 or 12 to 3, or you're a night person and 9 p.m. to midnight is your best, that's great. I'm just available for help from the 8 to 11 time slot. But make sure you have time to do that every day. Make sure you have some quiet setting in your home. I would avoid like your bed or the couch in front of the TV. If you are sitting up at like the kitchen table, or if you have a desk someplace in your house to work, that's where you're going to be the most productive, sitting up in a chair. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The Odysseyware stuff especially is often designed for a course level that's higher, and we've kind of picked and chosen the stuff that works best with what we teach, but it doesn't match up exactly. So you're going to run into some things that are kind of confusing. So please, please, please ask questions. It's not that you are completely lost on it. It's that we may not have covered it in class exactly like they're covering it in Odysseyware. Once again, sign up for help. Testing sessions once a week, depending on how many units you have. If you have 4 units, you should be testing about once a week. Sign up for a help session, even if it's just to check in and say, hey, everything's going great. I'll send you a message and you can just sign in and say, things are going good. Maybe I need to do better at this. Aside from the evaluation forms, you're going to need to take handwritten notes. I said that, so to use for tests. Be sure to read the lessons. One mistake students make is they just go right to the questions and they look everything up on the internet, but that doesn't always correlate exactly with how the lessons are taught. And it's not that you're giving wrong information, but a lot of times what you find on the internet is way more complicated than what they're doing inside of the lessons themselves. It's important that you check your school email daily. I will be sending messages, not necessarily every day, but let's just get in that habit of checking it daily. There's a place inside Odysseyware where messages can be written, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But the email is just the easiest way to communicate with people. It's just way more convenient than trying to get somebody on a phone, or like it's just, I can just be at my computer and send something really quickly. When you do stuff in Google Drive assignments, please put a name to them. That'll make them way easier to find. Name them just the same thing as the project or the lesson that you're working on. And then, as always, email me if you have questions or concerns. So really, I want to help you. This is what I really enjoy doing, not the online part, but I enjoy helping students understand all these concepts, and I want you to be successful. I want you to earn this credit this summer. And if you finish early, that's awesome. That'd be great. I'd love to see it that you only had to be here 2 or 3 weeks instead of all 5 weeks, because you got your science part done, and then you can maybe work on something else. So if you have to test, and this goes for a pre-test or a unit test, and not everybody gets assigned pre-test this summer, so that's one less thing that you have to do to sign up that you can just go ahead and work. But you need to sign up on the spreadsheet. And when you sign up on that spreadsheet, and let me just ask, can you see my spreadsheet now? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, thank you. So all you need to do, here's this week. You would just go in and put your name on here. And notice that up to 11 o'clock, there's all these 1s and 2s. If we need more than 2 people in a spot, that's okay. I can just work with a couple of people at the same time. But you sign in here. When you sign in there, it's going to send me an email. So you don't have to email me and tell me that you signed up on the spreadsheet. It will automatically email me. Now, if you want to work in this 11 to 12 time slot, then you want to email me for availability. If there's something going on and you absolutely can't meet in any of these times, then you want to contact me, and we do have some other options. It might be me, but we also have some other staff that are available in the afternoons that I can get you in touch with them. There was something else I was going to tell you about that. Oh yes, the other thing is, if for some reason you signed up, let's say you signed up for 9 o'clock tomorrow. If you can't make it, if something comes up, I understand that. Just send me an email to say, hey, I need to cancel the help session. That just makes it nice for me, so I'm not sitting there waiting for you. And I'll be in my office anyway. But if there's other people that are signed up, it's just nice to let me know when you can't make it. Okay, I'm going to check back in. How are we doing with everything? Can you see the slide? Everybody's doing okay? Nothing's too confusing? Give me a thumbs up if you can see the back in the presentation. Thank you. All right. Now, when you have a help session, I'll send you a Google Meet invite, kind of like the meeting this morning. I'll just email you a link, and then we'll join in. So we'll meet on the computer. I will be proctoring all tests. That's the fancy word of saying you can't do a test on your own. I have to be there. And actually what you're going to do is you're going to show me that you have handwritten notes, and then I log into your account, and you tell me the answers to put into the test for you. That's what we're saying here. So I will select your choices. Then you'll tell me what to answer. You're using your notes this whole time. Your camera will be on for that also. So now if you fail a test below 60%, then you're gonna have to go back and retake notes and go over stuff, and you have to retake the whole test. If you get in that 60 to 69%, then I'll send you a couple of review questions. I'll look to see what was there something in comma that you missed? I'll send you something maybe that you can go over because you just have some misconceptions. And then you can, we'll do a retest of just the questions you missed if you're in that range. There was something I was going to tell you about that, and now I've forgotten. And as always, email me any questions you have. Now, if you need, just make sure you're sharing things through Google Docs. If you can't attend a session, just let me know if you have a help session signed up. Your Odysseyware username and password, almost always it is your first initial, last name. There are a few exceptions, about, I don't know, 1 out of every 4 or 5 students, we can't use that because somebody else is already in the system with that same username. So contact me if you're trying to do it right and it doesn't work. Here's the link to the Odysseyware website. I would bookmark that. If you click on the star in Google Chrome on the right-hand side of the bookmark or of your search bar where you type in the search, then that will keep that for you. You can do several classes in summer school. It's really difficult to do more than one at a time, so I would just focus on one, get one done, and move on to the next one. Some of you may also be working with your classroom teacher to recover an incomplete from this last semester. So just keep that in mind. That's one you might want to, if you're working with them, that's okay. Just try to keep it all straight is going to be in your best interest. Does anybody need a Chromebook, or no, give me a thumbs up if your connection stuff is okay, you don't need anything, or a thumbs down if there's something you need. Okay, thank you. Now, one thing that happens a lot to me anyway is that I send an assignment back and I get the same assignment with the same answers. Like if you do something and you need to make corrections, I'll reassign it to you. But students will often just send it back. So there is a place I'll show you in a little bit. There's a place where you always want to check about your messages to make sure that you're not wasting your own time by doing that. And also keep in mind that you have to complete all answers. A blank answer, even if you have a 70% on the assignment, you cannot submit blank answers. And so I'll just reassign it and let you know. You have to get a 70% on every written answer. And then 70% on each assignment overall in order to say, yep, you're moving on to the next one. If you have a paper copy I know some people don't like to do stuff on the computer. So if you are printing it out, I'm fine with you taking pictures and sending it to me. That's not a problem at all. For this course, for this credit recovery, you're going to earn a C in almost all cases. The P is only going to be for people that are recovering incompletes. And there are just a handful of people that do original credit in science. That's usually more like some of the kids do health. Some freshmen will do health 1 or health 2 online. And so that frees them up for other classes during the year. So I'm available from 8 to 11 a.m. every day. And there are other spots, but just that may not be me. But we have people that are kind of covering from 8 until about 4 o'clock every day. And just keep in mind that if you're not attending, and even if you are signing in the forms, but you're still at 0% of your course done in a few weeks, you may be dropped from summer school. Now I'm going to hold on right there and going to check in with everybody. Is there anybody who has a question? Give me a thumbs up, I guess, if everything's okay, or raise your hand if you've got a question at this point. We've been given a lot of information. Okay, thank you. All right, so be sure you're sending stuff to me. If you send it to, some people send it to Mrs. Jensen because that's who they work with all year. She'll still get it to me, but it'll be graded fastest if you send it to me. And then keep in mind that if you are clicking on a Google Doc that you're going to write in through Odysseyware, They're view only, so you need to go to File, make a copy, and then you can type everything in your own document. Now, Odysseyware tutorial, I'll go through this quickly because I think everybody in here has done Odysseyware before or has signed in. But there's a couple of things. Number one, just remember, you always go to the Learn. That's where you get the assignments. The messages, you want to keep an eye on that red dot because that's where if I assign something, if I reassign something and I give you a help message to kind of give you a hint about what you maybe have done wrong or what you need to look at, that's where that will pop up. So you'll know that I've said, hey, you need to do something else here. So there's, once you click on the Learn, you're going to see two options, assignments. And that's just the list of the things that need to be done in a particular course. You can see here there's chemistry A listed for the student. Now you may not see everything in the course right there. They may only show you 3 or 4 next things that you need to do. And so as you do things, more things will pop up. So it's best to do them in the order that they come to you in, because everything is kind of built to work on the next thing. And if you jump around and kind of do the easy stuff first, you're not really following the sequence. And so that can cause you some confusion later on. Now, the other option for courses, that's where you're going to go to look for your grade. That's where the progress tracker is. And when we talk about you have to do 20% each week to get to that 100% after 5 weeks, that's where you're going to see the progress tracker. There's also, you'll see the percentage for your grade, but that's based on the work that's been graded, not the work that's been turned in. And the progress is also based on the work that's been graded, not the work that's been turned in. There is also the list of the whole unit here. The whole course can be found. Every assignment, not just the few, to be looking ahead towards like there is under the assignment tab. When you get in the assignment, you're going to see, let me do this fancy thing here. So you're going to see where it says either section or question. The section is the information. This is where you're going to take the notes. And you can see here, this particular assignment has 5 sections of information. And that could be just a paragraph. It could be just a couple of pieces of instruction. They're not necessarily full like websites. So keep that in mind, that you want to make sure you go through those sections first. And this is where you're going to take notes. The question part is where you're going to use your notes to answer questions about that information. And it might be that you're doing an activity, and this is where you're going to either type in your information for the activity, or you're going to have a longer answer to write, or multiple choice, or fill in the blank. There's all kinds of things that the questions could be. Now, when you go into the question section here, you can see that there's this whole list of numbers at the top. And a common mistake that students will make is they will click on number 1, then they'll click on number 2, then they'll click on number 3. And that's all well and good. It moves you through the questions. But when you enter an assignment, there's a 20-minute timer for the whole assignment. And it doesn't mean you have to finish it in 20 minutes. It just means that if you don't click this next question at least once every 20 minutes to reset the timer, it's going to time you out. And this is something we've discovered, especially when kids are working at home. You get distracted because you're on the internet and you have multiple tabs open and somebody texts you, and the next thing you know, it's 30 minutes later. It's going to time you out of the assignment. You're going to lose all your work. So rather than clicking on the numbers up here, click on the number 1 to start with. So you're on the first question, and then you're going to click next question. So you reset the timer. And I want to make sure I really emphasize that next question resets the timer. Please give me a thumbs up that you understand that part. If you don't reset the timer, then you could potentially lose work. Resetting the timer saves your work so that if you don't complete the assignment, notice there's a little turn it in button here. Thank you for those that were signing in or give me the check. You can turn it in when you're all done. And then, but if you don't click the next question, it's not saving that answer you gave. So if you do get timed out, let's say you took a long time to do question number 5 and it did time you out. If you've been clicking next question all along, 1 through 4 are saved for you. Okay, now there is something that comes up here on the things where you're expected to type a paragraph. They'll have a word count. Please disregard the word count. I don't count the words. I read your answer. Does it completely answer the question? Then I grade it based on that. So if you, this one has, do a word count of 125. If you can do it in 20 words, great. That doesn't bother me. Word count is kind of pointless for this. So just keep that in mind. I'm not interested in the word count. I'm interested in a complete answer. If you'd rather do stuff in Google Docs rather than here, because maybe it's just easier, they're going to help you with like some of the grammatical stuff, and that's great, because then you'll also have a copy of that answer. Then you just share that with me. However, because we can't have blank answers, you just type in this here. I shared it with you. I shared with you by email or something, or turned in by email. Type something in here that indicates to me that your answer is someplace else. Now, if you want to upload something, if you would do stuff in Word, or if you have a PDF, or if you take a picture of your work, you can actually use this upload option, and it will upload one of those types. Unfortunately, it doesn't upload a Google Doc. You have to share that with me, but it will upload some other files. And I think that there's a list that when you're on the web page, or when you're in Odysseyware, that will tell you. Okay, I think that is it, believe it or not.